When it comes to Greeks who visited India, the most popular name that comes to our mind is that of Megasthenes. Although the work which Megasthenes wrote certainly became a classic in the Western world and he was fairly well known, but he was not the first Greek who visited India. The title of this achievement goes to someone called Scylax. And in this video, we will talk about who this Scylax was and what are the questions which scholars are still not able to solve about this visit. From the different Greek sources that we have about Scylax, it appears that he was from a region called Carienda. Carienda is now situated in the western coast of Turkey. These sources also tell us that Scylax was in the service of Darius I. It was not like Scylax was the only Greek who was employed by the Achaemenids. Achaemenids employed large number of Greeks in administrative as well as military positions. The first Greek source that talk about Scylax is Herodotus' history. In this 5th century BC text, Herodotus has this to say about Scylax. There is a river Indus which of all rivers comes second in producing crocodiles. Darius, desiring to know where this Indus issue into the sea, sent ships manned by Scylax, a man of Carienda. Although Herodotus was the first one who wrote about Scylax, but it appears that Scylax may have wrote his own book about this Indian adventure. Herodotus was certainly not aware about this book of Scylax, but it appears that some Greek writers who came after Herodotus seems to have been aware about this book. Presently, we do not have any segments of this book. But when it comes to Scylax's visit, it is generally assumed that Scylax's travel was down to the Indus and around Arabia to a Red Sea port. We can say this because Herodotus tells us that Scylax and his men set out from the city of Caspatyrus in the Pactic country and sailed down the river towards the east and the sunrise till they came to the sea. And voyage over the sea westwards, they came in the 30th month to the place whence the Egyptian king sent the Phoenician aforementioned to sail round Libya. Through this passage, it is generally assumed that the city of Caspatyrus must be Peshawar. As we all know, during the reign of the Achaemenid ruler Darius I, the Achaemenid empire extended up to the Indus River. So it makes sense that Darius would send an expedition to know about the course of Indus River and where it empties into the ocean to effectively govern this region. However, there are some scholars who believe that the voyage of Scylax may not be as simple as we assume. They argue that if we look at the passage of Herodotus where he talks about Scylax, he mentions that Scylax followed the river in the eastern direction and then sailed westwards around India. Now, if we see the course of the river Indus, the passage of Herodotus does not make any sense, because the river Indus does not flow eastwards. This means that river Indus was not the river on which Scylax sailed. Some scholars argue that the river was Ganga because it is the only major river that flows eastwards towards the sea. Now, if you have been paying attention, you would have seen that in the first passage of Herodotus that I have showed you, Herodotus clearly mentions river Indus. So the fact that Herodotus has himself mentioned the name of the river should put the matter to rest. But that is not the case, because those scholars who believe that Herodotus sailed on river Ganga, not Indus, they argue that when we read the original phrase of Herodotus in Greek, it reads Ho Indos Potemus. This phrase could also mean the Indian river. So here Herodotus is talking about an Indian river, not the Indus River. Secondly, Herodotus tells us that the river on which Scylax sailed was filled with crocodiles. Now we all know both Indus and Ganga have crocodiles. So here again the river could be Ganga. Another point that favors this view is that if Scylax sailed down the river Indus, then the information about the course of river Indus should also have been available to Alexander. But that is not what we find, because when Alexander started to sail down the river Indus, he had this belief that this Indus River was connected to the Egyptian river Nile. Apart from this, the information of the place from where Scylax started his journey, Caspotyrus city and Pactys country, find no resemblance to any Indian names. Generally, we have seen that the Greek version of Indian names have some similarity with the original name. For example, Patliputra in Greek sources is called Palibhotra, Chandragupta is called Sandrocotus, and Ganga is called Ganges. So these Greek versions have some similarity with the Indian name. But in the case of Caspotyrus country, there is no resemblance to Purushpura, which was the original name of Peshawar. All of this makes it hard for us to believe that Scylax sailed down the river Indus. But the alternative view that Scylax sailed down the river Ganga is also a speculation. But at least there is a possibility. If this alternative view is correct, then it will question all the well-established belief. Why did Darius wanted to send an expedition down the river Ganges? Does the control of the Achaemenids extended east of Indus? The fact that we do not have the original book which Scylax wrote about this Indian adventure probably means that we may never know the truth. Now, do watch this playlist if you want to know more about Greek rule in ancient India and its different aspects. If you like this channel, do subscribe. Thank you for watching.